I thought that like my experiences weren't really validated. I used to think, okay, well maybe I am the problem because I don't know how to speak either or languages, and maybe I'm not black enough. I didn't have that representation. I didn't have that an outlet to express this without feeling like I'm in the wrong. Sup, howdy, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Rumbo, yay! And I owe a ginormous apology. Let me not beat around the bush and try and avoid the fact that I haven't posted in over a month. I feel like I owe you an explanation as to why I haven't uploaded in a month, and also just to say that I'm sorry. Also to say thank you so much in the meantime. I see that we're almost near 600 subscribers, which is weird. It is so weird. Before we get onto this video in general, I'll just like outline what this video is about. Firstly, I'm going to be talking about why I didn't post this past month, and also to be like going through my independent practice and my art exam, because I thought that would be interesting to see what I did for my exam, and I like took a couple videos along the way, so I'm gonna compile it in like a vlog and explain like my process. Sorry, I needed to breathe. That was a lot in like one breath. So before we get onto it, make sure that you like this video, subscribe, turn on my post notifications so you're notified when next I upload a video. I usually upload on the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday. I have been like afraid to be ambitious with goals. My goal is to reach at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and seeing as we are almost at 600, I definitely think we can make it so long as I post frequently. So if you'd like to help me reach my goal of getting 1,000 by the end of this year, make sure you subscribe. A little update on why I have been gone. Long story short, everything just got hectic, and I feel like I always say that whenever I don't post often, but truly it did get hectic this time, especially, which is what I'm going to talk about for the majority of this video, is I had my exam period. There was a lot going on, and it was just focusing on school and work. There were times where I was sleeping like 2 hours, 3 hours max, just trying to get things finished, so I really didn't have the time or the bandwidth to create content. Another thing which I didn't really tell anyone, who am I gonna tell? I actually got COVID one of these weeks. I think it was the week before exam started, or like a couple weeks before exam started, which was really terrible timing. Oh my gosh, it kicked me in the butt. I fully could not function properly during the time that I was quarantining when I had COVID. The medication they gave me worked wonders, but I was KO'd the whole time. I could only sleep and eat. It took so much energy just to stand. Because I was in like this medicated COVID state, I really couldn't upload videos, but I also couldn't focus on school. Now, leading up to what I've been talking about here and there, is my art exam. I was just going to put like a mini, hey guys, this is quickly like what my art's about. Wanted to sit down and talk about what my art practice is. Maybe you guys want to hear about it, because I do talk about myself being an artist and a fine art student, but I don't really talk about like what I do. I don't know if I've talked about like exam period and how exams work for fine arts, but just to break it down, I don't have any test exam. Like the closest thing I have to like an exam, like a traditional conventional exam, is my history of arts exams, where it's like an essay format. But as of currently, my other exams are all practicals. So for this round of, I had my independent project, but you also have a drawing exam. Oh my gosh, I also had a drawing exam, a digital arts exam, because I had a digital art module for the first time. I had 5 exams. 3 of them were practicals, 2 of them were written essays. Killed me, annihilated me. Now to jump back to my art praxis, I think I have to start from the beginning, and that's that I didn't have one. I've always like had this insecurity, and I feel like it's with a lot of people, especially a lot of creatives and artists, that like I'm not an actual artist because I didn't have a niche. And I don't know how else to put it except for like giving out examples. If you look at famous artists, you will see that they have a thing. They have a niche. They have something about their work that makes it them. Like for example, Mary Sibande with Sophie, Ayanda Mabulu, and how they paint, Jane Alexander and those like Butcher Boy. I don't know how to explain it. Like every artist that has some sort of presence, also I thought, in the art industry always has like a thing that makes them distinct. And I never had that because I didn't know what I want my art to look like, what I want to speak about, what I am. From the beginning, I knew I just wanted to make art, but like looking back, I don't know what that art was that I wanted to make. And I did have projects that I really liked, but I didn't see it as art. First block of the semester, I did not know what I was doing at all. Like, I was just going through the motions. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was working towards. And that was a problem because I didn't know like what next steps I had to take forward. I just knew that I kind of liked this and I was trying to wing it as far as I could go, but it was just not happening. There was a day I had a crit. I missed my original slot for my crit because I had COVID during that time that we were having our formal crits. So I ended up having one with my lecture the week after I had COVID, and I was not recovered that day. Like, I didn't have COVID, but the thing is, it's not like once you're COVID negative, boom, you're like completely fine. I was still like exhausted, weak, like disoriented. So it was like the worst day ever. So when I presented it, they were like, this is not sufficient enough. And then you ask me like questions like, what is this? What is the intention of your work? Where is this leading? What is this? And I was like, well, golly, those are the questions I'm also asking because I also don't know. But there was a time when I was like, okay, in the night before bed, I'm gonna have like a brainstorming session, see where my headspace is at. During that time, I had a little bit of an epiphany. And I felt like I had like a tiny step outside of my creative block, which spurred a lot of really good stuff. So that brings us up until today, where I can say that I kind of have a firmer knowledge on what I want my art to be about and what I wanted to depart from. There's so much to talk about, but it's not just about like talking about things through your art. It has to mean something to you and it has to connect with you so that you have that kind of drive and that kind of like emotional connection that will show through in your art. I don't know how to explain it and I don't know what it looks like, but you can definitely feel it. I could have, oh my gosh, my laptop's dying. Is it just me or do laptops have like the worst battery ever? Anyway, where was I? So I could talk about any subject, but like if I talk about it, I know I'm gonna be disingenuous because I don't have that connection. And I've done stuff in the past and I've talked about things in the past, but I didn't see myself having that as a running topic in my heart. I just wanted to interject here because I realized I was talking a lot about topic, but it's not just the topic that I was talking about. Like in terms of niche, I mean like even the aesthetic and like having like a trademark aesthetic, like for example the artist I mentioned earlier, that there's like a certain aesthetic that each artist has that is unique to them and it becomes like a motif. I remember during my crit, my lecturer was like asking, because if you see in my art, I have a lot of imagery that's not in my local context, which in itself is a very iffy statement. I was working with collage and I took clippings from these old American magazines, so they were like American kitchens and stuff like that. So he was asking why there are contexts from another place, like a Western context and not African. Even if I had to paint an African context, which I'm pretty sure you're expecting like a hut, I wouldn't have that connection with, because first of all, I grew up in the suburbs. I am South African. I was born and raised here, but my household, my family is not South African. So I don't have a connection to South Africa as South Africans would have it. So I don't really have like a proper solid foundation in any African culture. So that's why I don't have like that agency to like, you know, talk about it. When I was thinking about it that night when I had that brainstorming session, I was like, actually, why do I not choose to make art about stuff in my context? I finally got this revelation moment that I'm actually really passionate about, and I'm going to, you know, jump off of it. As I explained, I am a South African, born and raised here, but my household isn't South African. And what I mean by that is my family is Malawian, but I was born and raised here. I was born and raised in the suburbs, went to PWIs. All of my schools, we spoke English and learned Afrikaans. I am a third culture kid, and this was a term that like my sister first introduced to me, and I didn't know it was like an actual thing. And then I researched it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly me. And it's basically people who have been raised for a significant or majority of their lives in the country that's not where their parents' citizenship is. I've never found anyone who related to this experience other than my other siblings. So it was like a weird internal struggle because I didn't really know how to describe it to anyone else except for my siblings who get it because they're in the exact same shoes as I was. Like, for example, not speaking any other language other than English. Oh my gosh, I'm bullied left, right, and center for that. I used to visit Malawi a lot. My family that side would laugh at us because we couldn't speak my mother tongue. This side, every black South African I have met under the sun, if I don't know how to respond to them in Zulu, in Tswana,
in Sotho, in Pedi, in Tonga, in Xhosa, in any other language,
I get either very dirty looks, I get the worst reactions, or I get laughed at, but I'd rather you laugh at me than, like insult my entire ancestry. Xenophobia in South Africa sucks. And I feel it. Even though like I have a South African passport, I still feel it. There's a lot of like very unique experiences of third culture kids that I felt that has never been represented around me. It definitely did affect me because I thought that like my experiences weren't really validated. I used to think, okay, well maybe I am the problem because I don't know how to speak either or languages, and maybe I'm not black enough. I didn't have that representation. I didn't have an outlet to express this without feeling like I'm in the wrong. So when I had that like epiphany, I was like, well, if I feel so passionate about this and it's a very unique experience to me, boom, I know what I'm gonna make my art about. It's about third culture kids and that displacement of being, of existence, that displacement of belonging. I've had a huge fixation on retrofuturistic imagery for the past couple of years now, and because of that I decided to make like a narrative, a fiction about someone who is having this kind of cultural displacement. Basically it's about this character, Space Kid, who is this person, an entity in the narrative who, like me, is displaced. Their family is from XYZ, but they were born and raised here, but they're very outcasted because they don't have a sense of belonging. They discover this place called the Insula, which is this weird liminal in-between space in the universe for citizens of everywhere and nowhere. So it's for everybody who feels displaced and doesn't quite have a spot in the universe. No one is their citizen. It doesn't belong to anyone, but it in turn belongs to everyone. It's like a place where you can't really be ostracized for not belonging because nobody belongs there. And I feel like that's a place that I really wish existed because I've always wanted to go to a neutral place where nobody could say I don't belong. It's a science fiction. A lot of research went into it and is still going into it, but that's what makes it even much more like fun. I definitely feel like after I had that first boom of knowing what like direction I want to go to, like everything just shifted and I was a lot more passionate in what I was doing and a lot more excited, and I definitely feel a lot more proud about my outcome of my exam and my project because it's more than just an exam. And I think that's what I really like about fine art, is that these exams that I'm doing is actual things that I'm taking into real life. Like I don't really call it my exam, it's more my artwork. It's not just something I hand in and that's it. It's something I can put in my portfolio and exhibit other places and like show like this is what I'm making creatively. Like they're my babies. I'm just gonna cut it short here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, like. If you like me, subscribe, comment down below, all that fun jazz, and until then,